Hey, what's up and welcome back to Interpreting the Stars. For today, I'm going to be talking about a new film coming out on September 17th, and this one is called Apartment 413. Apartment 413 is about an apartment that contains a dark history and mysterious atmosphere. When the current tenant starts getting messages from who he believes is the landlord posting around the apartment on a bunch of strange post-it notes, his paranoia skyrockets because he never sees the landlord come into the apartment or put them there. The more messages start showing up in the apartment, the crazier he begins to feel. Is the house in some way speaking to him? Is he just crazy, or is it something else? Is somebody out to get him? And if so, why?
Everything's gonna be fine. Just shut your mouth.
Why did you like me? Do you like this?
I swear, I will find a job before the end of the week. I got another one of your notes. And I don't want to enter my apartment without my permission.
So I've always liked a good indie film if they were able to tackle the idea that a location or a setting can be a character in and of itself, given how much focus it has on its own, and honestly, what it's kind of doing. And Apartment 413 definitely has a keen eye on making that apartment a character, as in a way it feels like the walls are talking to this guy, making him feel really crazy. And this is nothing new. Oftentimes, other films that use the location as the title know how to make the setting a character, and that's partially the point. And while you're watching this film, you might be tempted to say something like, well, this is the penny saver version of The Shining, because yeah, you have a guy on a computer most of the time trying to find work, struggling, writing crazy things on that computer, and throughout the movie, he seems to just get crazier and crazier as he sees things, hears things, possibly imagines it all, and you're not quite sure how it'll all pan out by the end. And if you are forced to compare the two, obviously, you'll end up thinking that this is the penny saver version, given the fact that our director here is not Stanley Kubrick. Nobody is Stanley Kubrick. No, this is an indie film straight up. You're going to notice things like washed out, basically auto-white balance shots, which for me have always hurt whatever film that you're watching, as it makes them feel slightly amateurish. And as far as the writing style goes for Apartment 413, I would say that this is one of those situations where it feels as if it's structured like a short film. Like it has a message to convey, and it does by the end, but it takes a very long time to get there. Lots of repetitious stuff where, just in general, this guy is experiencing a lot of crazy moments. And that's fine on their own, but each individual attack this guy experiences doesn't really add that much to the plot progression. It's just more of the same thing, forcing me to point out the movie is at times repetitious. It's also slightly predictable, as it utilizes foreshadowing in a way that, while watching, I'm thinking, okay, what they're doing right now probably has to do with the end of the movie. I didn't know how exactly, but I knew it had something to do with that, and I was right. Now, that's not to say in general the film is bad by any means. I actually think most of it was intriguing, and I was mostly pulled in from beginning to end. I liked the premise, I liked the mystery, and I liked the thrills. Some of it was illogical, but most of it was completely fine, and one of the more interesting independent films that I've seen in the whole year. The performances were particularly pretty decent because when you have something so contained, so small, you end up depending on good performances because that's kind of all you have, in a way. So at the end of the day, I did enjoy the movie. I see the faults, the flaws, the issues that it runs into. I know it's imperfect, but I think it achieved everything that it did go after, and I applaud them for that. Let me go ahead and break down my final score for a second. From a technical, unbiased perspective, I think that this film was fine. Obviously, it was limited in its budget, so it doesn't visually look like a fully produced film. My biggest gripes with its technical side was definitely appearance overall, because I do think the writing was fair, and it had an idea that was pretty great in general. But again, it is flawed, and that's something that you can't escape. This score is 68%. My bias score is slightly higher because, again, I did enjoy it overall. I think what they were going for, they mostly achieved, even though it was an imperfect film. I think it works much more as a short film than a feature-length film. Heck, the whole thing is something like 80 minutes long, from beginning to end, so there's clearly not enough material to make it into even a normal length movie either. So I liked it fine, but it could use some help here and there. This score is 74%. So when we combine the two scores together, we come to the final rating of 71%. 71 out of 100 possible stars, or a B- letter grade. But what about you guys? Have you seen Apartment 413? And if you have, let me know what you thought about it in the comment section down below. As for YouTube, you guys know what to do. Hit that like, subscribe button, and bell to be notified when I come up with my next review. And until then, peace out!
Dave examines movies we just watch for fun. Davey is the expert. He is the number